A vintage pack retrospective. Jeez, this stuff is huge. Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome back to Archer Park, our tiny 30 by 30 park where we are attempting to build something from each of the DLCs of Planet Coaster 1, our little trip down memory lane as we say goodbye to Planet Coaster 1, with Planet Coaster 2 just less than a month away at the time of recording this. Didn't want this to be less than a month away, to be honest with you, but I've just been hitting a brick wall with this one. Vintage pack, as lovely as it was, as great as some of the pieces were, a lot of the really sort of key vintage pack pieces are pretty huge, which is difficult to build in my style anyway, even more so when you're trying to build in a tiny little area like this. But I'm going to give it a fair old shake of the stick. There are two things I wanted to do with the vintage pack today. First of all was these two little boxes here. I wanted to turn those into a little ice cream parlor, a sort of classic 50s diner style looking thing, and then also we're going to do something to the station here. Not too sure what that's going to look like, but yeah, we'll start with this one here. I think it's looking a little boxy, but I don't mind where this is going. Again, really wanted to lean into the sort of 50s diner, ice cream parlor, the sort of thing that Marty McFly runs into in Back to the Future, you know the drill. With these still being accessible as QSRs, though, I didn't want to try and do a full interior because it's just ain't going to happen in this sort of space. So we're doing the QSRs on either side here, with then an implied interior here using some art shapes. And this is a TMTK stool piece, but the stool itself isn't quite what we want it to be. It's not terrible, to be honest with you, but it's a little bit too modern. We really wanted that sort of cushioned, the red velvet that smells of cigarette smoke, that kind of thing. I don't know what the roof's going to look like either, but overall I don't mind where this is going. We're using a lot of hydro beams here on the windows to break those up. It is the start of something. It doesn't look like there's an hour's work here, but there was. Okay, so after about another hour's working on this, I shared a picture of it in Bronation, which if you're not already, fantastic Discord for realistic, to an extent actually, some people do other stuff on there, but for the most part, realistic style Planet Coaster building. This is pretty out there for their stuff, to be honest with you, due to the limitations on scale and part usage. But I put a picture that looked like this on there, and asked about the overhang and was like, would this work? Would this overhang fly? And everyone was like, no, not really. So I went back to the drawing board to affect the overhang, and in the end ended up redoing most of the building itself. But I'm so much happier with how it turned out, which looks like this. And the reason I wanted to show you that sort of midway through and not just the final product of the hour or two's work, I guess, let's be honest. I think it's a bit of a meme for us in the Blanco community, especially the creator community, to have the whole sort of that'll do, we're done, it's fine, we're done. And a lot of the time, I think it is a good. This will get fixed, by the way. Sorry, but a lot of the time it is a good way to work. Honestly, I think at some points you do have to kind of say, yes, this is good enough. I'm ready to move on. But sometimes that mindset can have you finish something that isn't really as good as it could be, which is why I love Discords like my own and like the Bronation one, because you can share stuff and another pair of eyes can take a look at it, and sometimes if they need to just say, yeah, you need to go back and have another look at that, and I'm very, very grateful for the other creators out there, the other players the other community members who are able to help keep me accountable. And anyway, because of that, this building just came out a little bit, and I think it looks great now. So the full interior is done. Thank you to everyone who suggested TMTK pieces for this at the time. Mineral did a lot of work with me finding stuff here, and also he was one of the main people who said you should have another go at this. And we've ended up with this cool little sort of side area to drink that then comes out to the outside as well, with these TMTK cups to sort of really flesh that out. And I'm really happy with how this has turned out. I think it's really cute. We have the milkshakes at the back there. We have the ice cream here. It all sort of ties together into this beautiful soft serve ice cream. There's a bit of oh man, what's her name? It's not Gulpy, is it? What's the moo cow called? Cosmic Cow. Cosmic Cow here, but we're not really leaning into the branding too much. Here we've just got the cow and this beautiful TMTK neon sign, and I'm really happy with how it's come together. And I think it looks very vintage. The problem is, I don't think it uses a single piece of actual vintage scenery from the game, from the actual vintage DLC pack. And there's a reason for that. I've placed some of them over here, and they are all absolutely ginormous. Each of these pieces has 2 or 3 different sizes. This is the smallest of each of them. And outside of the context here, let me just bring this in. I think this is the smallest of 3, and look at it. Like, it's just insane. And we always kind of joke and we rib at Planko for having this incredible huge scale, and we're all very happy that Planko 2 has got scaling scenery pieces. But like, I don't know, other than just doing this basically and making the building out of it, I don't know what else we could do here. So we're going to have to try very hard to use some vintage stuff over here. But we're going to have to try and... I mean, look at this. It looks like an off-brand It's a Small World. Oh, that's giving me an idea. Oh, that gives me an idea. Do you like my acting? Like, this wasn't built like 3 weeks ago at time of recording this. Okay, so we're going to try and do an It's a Small World facade here for the wooden coaster. Like, okay, I know It's a Small World is a dark ride or a boat ride. I know it doesn't go at all, but I really wanted to try and use some of the vintage pieces. And this actually could work quite well. So this is the It's a Small World cover facade, from Disneyland, California, and this is they painted it, I guess, for some sort of anniversary. It was all sort of pastely colours, like the letters down here. Melza Doin Perk is It's a Small Park in Planko. It's going to be the name of this ride now, and this video probably as well. It used to use all these sort of pastely colours, but then it got repainted into just sort of sheer white and gold, and I think it looks amazing. And also, it really helps a colorblind person to just have 2 colors. So I'm going to put a reference image up here. Bloop. We're trying to do this. It's not going to be to scale, of course. It's not going to be accurate, of course. We are going to be using it as a rough frame of reference, and we're going to be trying our best to get as much of it onto here as possible without it look too silly. But, we have the idea of the flower garden at the front, the idea of the sign here, the idea of the door. This is an amazing TMTK piece that really caps it off. But other than that, we are going to try and use in-game stuff as much as possible, and vintage pieces as much as possible, despite them being huge. They're still over here for me to look at. So far, I've got 1 in, and that's this here. This piece here is the one. It's a decorative shaped trapezium, and it's meant to be all beautiful colours, and you can do all sort of lovely things with it. But we're going to be making it completely white. So even though we're squeezing in as many of these vintage pieces as we can, you probably won't recognise a lot of them, because we're going to have to shrink them. We're going to have to hide them here. We're going to have to really sort of tuck them away to try and get the idea of this It's a Small World facade. Also, we're going to be using a lot of these temple pieces because they're a great gold colour. And yeah, the trickiest bit here is going to be making this work with the guest leaving. There may be some clippage here. I'm not going to be too worried about it. And this isn't going to be a full building either. We are just going to keep this as a facade. Yeah, this kind of came pretty naturally to me. We took about 20 minutes. I was really happy with it. And then I hit a bit of a brick wall. The brick wall continues with this thing smiling at me. The title thing said an hour then. It's actually been about 3 weeks, and a lot's been done. But something that's never really happened to me before. Like, I've had blocks in the game. Like, that's happened. I've stepped away from projects for a while. Heck, I left YouTube for like a year or two, maybe even. But what happened with this was I would open the game up, I would load it up, I would sit down, I'd be ready to play. I would place down about 3 pieces and then close the game again. And this, honestly, yes, there may well be about an hour's work here, but this has taken 3 weeks. I would literally come in, I would be like, okay, here's this vintage round piece here. Oh, the clock fits nice in it. I'll clean it up with some art shapes behind it. I'm done. And then, like, 3 days later, I would come in and be like, oh, the actual ride's got this weird, like, topiary thing where it's got, like, wall climbers hidden into blocks. Okay, I'll make that. I'm done. And honestly, I have this thing, like, it's been so tough to break the back of this thing, honestly. Like, it has absolutely kicked my ass this week. Last couple of weeks, even. Eventually, I've got to the point here where I think I can show it to you. There's going to be one more cut, but it is not an hour's worth of work, so I'll just go bloop and show you these last few little bits. Literally just sort of clearing up around here, and a little bit of detail to the back. A little bit of trims down the front, and yeah, I'm like, this looks great. I am actually really happy with how this has turned out, but God, it's been hard work getting this across the finish line, and honestly, it's still not there. You know, it's still very unfinished here. Obviously, the actual station itself needs capping in. I've trimmed up a lot of the pathway here, but still a lot of it needs tidying up. We might be able to get away with just foliaging this in, but and also, you'll notice, if you're very keen-eyed, that the entrance is here now. It was originally all the way over here, and this little bit of cattle pen queue kind of had pirate vibes coming off of this building, but that didn't work at all. We had pirate vibes, and then we came under here, and then we come up into the It's a Small World type thing. So I've got rid of the queue here, and I've repurposed the queue through here, keeping this. This now goes the other way. But we still have the lovely path interaction with the car ride that I'm very happy about that we've kept. So I've had to redo that, and that's okay. Obviously, all of this needs finishing up, but it's fine. We're done. I want to get an episode out. I've got a month until PC2. I'm not rushing this, but at some point I have to say, here's your thumbnail, let's move on to something else. Because what we're going to do is the entrance area here and the queue line, all of this basically, it's going to be a live stream. We haven't live streamed for a few weeks now because I've had things on for Saturdays, but I do have this Saturday free. Obviously, we're all done with Pinewood Hills now, so I'm going to come in and we're going to live stream this. So if you're watching this at time of release, tomorrow there'll be a live stream at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll have a chat. We'll see how we're all feeling about PC2, and we'll get this area boxed off. So there you go. And if you're watching this in the future, what's it like? Have we got flying cars? Thanks so much for watching. Love you all to bits. Till the next one, be good.